Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. We're discussing today artificial intelligence. Of course, it is something that makes the whole world always thinking what's going, the artificial intelligence, what is going to add to the humanity. Some jobs are going to appear, other jobs are going to disappear. We're going to know more about artificial intelligence and the latest in this field with our dear guest from the United States of America, Mr. Jonathan Osha, Global Artificial Intelligence. Good morning, sir. Hello?
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. Pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Osha, now you are Global Artificial Intelligence. So from your experience, give us an idea about the latest researches you've made and what are now new about the artificial intelligence field.
Well, the really interesting thing to understand about artificial intelligence is that the technology itself is not actually new. Believe it or not, it dates back to the 1950s. But what has happened recently is two things have come together. One is that we have enormous amounts of data. That is, all of the systems that we use, Facebook and search engines and online places where we buy things, it creates huge amounts of data. So that's one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle is that computers have gotten fast enough to be able to process that data. So the huge change, the huge improvement and availability of artificial intelligence that we see today comes from those two factors coming together.
Yes.
And the wonderful thing about the technology is that today, as everyone has seen, it's no longer just something that experts can access. We can all access it and use the power of this tool from our desktops, from our phones. So it's an exciting time.
Yes, so Mr. Osha, now we know that the artificial intelligence is going to result in the appearance of new jobs, but other jobs are going to disappear. So give us an idea about this, please.
I think this is true, and we see changes whenever we get an important new tool. And I think that's one thing we have to keep in mind. We shouldn't be afraid of artificial intelligence. It's a new tool. And what you say is correct. I do think that some jobs will go away, but also it will create new jobs and new opportunities for many people. So we will see that adjustment happen, just like we did, for example, years ago when the word processor was first introduced. And people who used to, the jobs of traditional typing jobs went away. And we were worried about that then, but the computer created all these new jobs. So I think we should feel confident in the fact that even though you're correct, some jobs will go away, new jobs and more interesting jobs will come in their place.
Yes. So what are the examples of the new jobs, and what are the examples of the jobs that are going to disappear? For example, the TV presenter, it's going to disappear? Give us an idea, an example.
No,
I mean. Yes.
I think the TV presenter will never disappear.
Yes, of course.
Artificial intelligence does a very good job of automating things.
Yes.
So the types of jobs that are likely to disappear or need fewer people
Yes.
are the types of jobs that involve repetitive tasks and things that can't be replaced.
Hmm.
On the other hand, because artificial intelligence gives any person access to a vast amount of information, those people can explore new avenues, can get involved in businesses that previously it would have been very difficult for them to do.
Yes.
Today, literally from your desktop, using artificial intelligence systems, you can get information that would have been very, very difficult to get in the past. And so I like to think that artificial intelligence will allow us to some degree, stop doing the mundane, the menial type jobs and allow us to concentrate on the higher value jobs where the human intelligence, intuition, and imagination are really going to help.
Yes, so Mr. Osha, How would the artificial intelligence facilitate the daily life of the human being, or help in our daily life?
Well, I do think that it has impact in our daily life in many ways, because artificial intelligence has gone in a period of just 2 or 3 years from being something that was relatively obscure to something that is involved in many, many aspects of our lives. So, for example, personal digital assistants now are so much more powerful than they used to be. And so we can ask a machine almost any question and get an answer. So this convenience, this immediate access to information is extremely powerful. At the same time, we need to be very careful to make sure that we always have our brain turned on, that we don't blindly listen to what we are told, because artificial intelligence does have the opportunity to do what's called hallucinate, basically to make stuff up. And so also people can use artificial intelligence, as I'm sure you know, in a bad way. They can use it to make fake videos or to make fake pictures. And so we need to make sure that we always have our brain engaged when we look at the output of an artificial intelligence system, to make sure that we know whether we are looking at something that is real or not.
Yes.
And that's an area that I believe we need to further develop, both in terms of regulation and laws, frankly, to outlaw some of the illegal uses or improper uses, but also new artificial intelligence systems that help us make sure, basically artificial intelligence systems that are checking other artificial intelligence systems to make sure that what we're looking at is real and accurate. Because that's the danger, I believe, of artificial intelligence. It's not that it's going to take over the world or some of the things, science fiction things you hear people say, but it's that it is the same thing that make it powerful for the use for good, make it powerful for people who want to use it in bad ways.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that we control that.
Yes. So you've mentioned a very important point, Mr. Osha, the negative side of the artificial intelligence by making fake videos or pictures. How are the scientists or researchers would face the negative side of the artificial intelligence?
Well, so there is research underway to create systems that will detect these sorts of fake pictures. So and that's not so difficult to do. So that technology is or will be available. But there's also a policy side to that that I think our governments need to create regulations, just like any other improper advertising or harmful statements online. These are the sorts of things that we need to set some standards. And frankly, it's a little bit difficult to decide what the standards should be. So there's a lot of discussion going on right now in various governments and policy for it to decide how best to address the risk part of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful that governments will cooperate on this, because artificial intelligence is inherently global. So it would be great if we had similar or same systems. But right now, for example, the European Union is taking one approach. There's many proposals in the United States. I don't know which are going to go forward. But there's a general recognition that certain types of systems of artificial intelligence are riskier, and so need to be regulated more heavily, and other ones are less risky.
Yes.
So this is part of the equation as well.
Yes. How can we spread the awareness or the knowledge concerning the artificial intelligence? Would it be in some countries a subject in the syllabus of the schools during the year, or how can we spread the awareness concerning this issue?
Oh, I do think it should become part of the education curriculum for children.
Yes.
And honestly, it should be, in my view, I'm just speaking of my personal opinion now, But I also think that children should be taught about social networks. And I believe that even without artificial intelligence, the social networks can be very harmful to children because they live so much of their life in this digital world, and they get so concerned when somebody says something bad about them or bullies them. So there's already this education thing that we really need to do better with our children.
Yes.
And now you have artificial intelligence where people can, a high school student or a young child can make an unpleasant picture of somebody they don't like at school and post it on social media.
Yes.
And that's even worse. So I think it's a critical thing that we educate our children about how to safely use this tool, but also what the dangers are. At the end of the day, it's like driving a car, right? It's a very, very useful tool that we have developed, but we need to teach people how to drive safely and to not injure themselves or other people.
Yes. Mr. Osha, the positive side of the artificial intelligence, how would it help in order to integrate the educational system?
Well, it is a very powerful tool for education. And we can imagine, for example, that artificial intelligence can be used to customize education. So right now in most education systems, the same curriculum is given to all students.
Yes.
But not all students are the same. Students typically have, one student will be strong in math, weak in writing, or whatever the case may be. Some students have special needs. So one just example of a very straightforward application of artificial intelligence is to customize a curriculum to a child so that they are getting what they need in terms of educational training while not having to do boring stuff that they already know. We probably all remember that from school when we had to do homework assignments. Some were very difficult and boring because we already knew it. And so we can improve the way our education interacts with our children with systems like this.
Yes, yes. So also, how would the artificial intelligence help in the human being in the field of health, medicine, and in the hospitals in general?
Well, it has enormous implications for healthcare, and frankly already has. But just one example is the ability to use artificial intelligence to help identify existing drugs that can be applied to help with conditions, medical conditions that we didn't previously know that they would affect, and also to identify new drugs, new treatments for cancer, or new types of genetic medicine. These are things that before artificial intelligence were very, very difficult to do simply because data that the human brain doing it manually simply could not go through all of the choices, all of the permutations. And that is an application that is really well suited to artificial intelligence. Another example is something simple like reading chest x-rays. If you take an x-ray of someone to see whether they have, for example, lung cancer, well, traditionally, that x-ray needs to be read by a doctor. And, of course, that requires that you live in a place where there is a doctor to start with. And secondly, that that doctor be a good doctor and a trained doctor.
Yes.
Well, now we already have artificial intelligence systems that can read those x-rays, very, very well. And so I think our healthcare, the impact on our healthcare system is really profound in a positive way.
Well, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. I really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jonathan Osha, Global Artificial Intelligence Expert, USA. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break, and I'm going to be back with you.